Your cat did something. Maybe they scratched the furniture. Maybe they bit you when you were just trying to pet them. Maybe they knocked your full glass of water off the counter and looked directly at you while doing it. And you reacted. Your voice shifted. Your body language closed. The temperature in the room changed. And your cat felt it immediately. And then they left. Just disappeared somewhere in the apartment. And you thought what most cat owners think in that moment. Figures. No remorse. No acknowledgement. They did the thing, absorbed your reaction, and moved on without a second thought. Because that's cats. Independent to the point of emotional unavailability. Incapable of guilt. Incapable of repair. I need you to stay with me for this entire video. Because that story, the one you just told yourself about your cat in that moment, is one of the most widespread and most quietly damaging beliefs in cat ownership. And it is costing you something you cannot get back retroactively once you understand what was actually happening. Your cat has been apologizing to you. Not sometimes, regularly, possibly for years. In a language so different from what we expect an apology to look like that most owners don't just miss it. They actively respond to it in ways that make their cat eventually stop trying. And when a cat stops trying to repair a relationship, they don't get louder about it. They don't escalate. They go quiet. And that quiet is not peace. That quiet is a cat who has concluded through accumulated experience that reaching out doesn't work. A cat who has given up on something they genuinely wanted to restore. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what your cat's apologies look like, what is happening in their brain and their body when they offer them, and how to respond in a way that your cat will understand immediately and completely, in a way that tells them the repair worked, the relationship is intact, and they can keep trying. I'll tell you right now, the fifth signal on this list is the one that's going to land hardest. It's the one that looks the most human. It's the one most owners walk straight past every single time it happens. And once you understand what it means, you will never look at that moment the same way again. But before we get to the signals, you need one piece of foundational science. Because without it, everything I'm about to describe will seem like coincidence. And none of it is. Cats are not emotionally shallow animals. That is one of the most persistent and most damaging myths that American pet culture has carried for decades. The idea that cats operate on a reduced emotional register. Appetite, comfort, territory, the basics. Without the depth that would make concepts like guilt, regret, or social repair genuinely meaningful to them. The neuroscience of the last 20 years has taken that myth apart, piece by piece, study by study. What we now understand is that cats have a limbic system, the brain's emotional processing center, that is structurally and functionally comparable to ours. They process fear, attachment, social connection, and stress through the same neural hardware that produces those states in human beings. They have an amygdala that fires in response to perceived threat and social tension. They have an oxytocin system that activates in response to bonding behaviors and close contact with trusted individuals. They have a measurable cortisol response to conflict that takes real time to return to baseline after a difficult interaction. When the emotional temperature in your home changes, your cat's brain registers it neurochemically. When your voice sharpens or your posture closes, their amygdala responds. Their stress hormones shift. Their threat detection system activates. This is not interpretation. This is documented physiology. And here is the part that changes everything. Because your cat is not just a stress-reactive animal. They are a bonded one. They have formed a genuine attachment to you. And that attachment means they have a stake in what happens between you. When that bond feels disrupted, their nervous system is not indifferent to it. It responds with a specific drive to restore what was there before the disruption. The 5 behaviors I'm going to walk you through are what that restoration looks like in cats. They are not random. They are not incidental. They are the specific, documented behavioral strategies that cats use to repair social connection after conflict, each one shaped by the evolutionary history of feline social biology, each one carrying a precise meaning that your cat is counting on you to receive. The first signal is one you have almost certainly seen. The question is whether you understood what you were looking at. After a tense moment, your cat makes eye contact with you. And then, slowly and deliberately, they close their eyes. Most cat owners in America know, on some level, that a slow blink from a cat is a good sign. It has become fairly common knowledge in the cat community over the past decade. What almost no one talks about is the specific context that gives the slow blink its deepest meaning, and what is happening inside your cat neurologically in the seconds before they offer it. When your cat is stressed, the default response their nervous system prepares is flight or freeze. That is the amygdala doing its job. It is not a conscious choice. It is a hardwired threat response that activates before any higher order processing occurs. So when tension enters the room, when your affect changes, when the energy shifts, your cat's body is already getting ready to withdraw. And then they choose not to. They stay in the room. They orient toward you, which is itself a significant act, because sustained direct eye contact in feline body language is not casual. It carries social weight. And then, in front of the thing their nervous system just categorized as a source of stress, they close their eyes. Slowly. Completely. Making themselves briefly visually defenseless. That is not relaxation. That is a deliberate act of social courage. Your cat is overriding an active stress response to communicate something specific to you. I am not a threat to you, and I am choosing to trust that you are not a threat to me. I am making myself vulnerable in this moment because I want things to be okay between us again. A 2020 study from the University of Sussex confirmed that cats use slow blinking as an intentional social signal, not simply a passive expression of relaxation, but a communicative act directed at another individual with a specific social function. The researchers also found something that most people who know about slow blinking have never heard. Cats who received a slow blink back from a human showed significantly lower cortisol levels than cats whose slow blink was met with a neutral expression or ignored entirely. Read that again. Your response to your cat's slow blink has a measurable effect on their stress chemistry. When you blink back, their cortisol drops. When you don't, their nervous system registers the repair attempt as having failed. And this is where the long-term stakes come in. Cats do not experience each interaction in isolation. They build internal models, continuously updated, experience-based predictions about what specific behaviors lead to. A cat who slow blinks after conflict and consistently receives nothing in return gradually revises their model. The slow blink stops working as a repair tool in their internal experience. And eventually, they stop offering it. Not with drama, not with any visible sign of giving up. They simply stop initiating, and the relationship stays at whatever emotional distance it had reached by that point, indefinitely. The next time your cat holds your gaze after a difficult moment and closes their eyes slowly, slow blink back. Let your eyes go soft and half close. Hold it for a beat and reopen. That exchange, bilateral, silent, taking under 3 seconds, is a complete act of reconciliation in the most native language your cat speaks. You are telling them, without a single word, that you received it, that you're okay, that the relationship is intact. That is all they needed to know. The second signal is one that owners almost universally misread, and in some cases, actively discourage without realizing what they're pushing away. You're sitting somewhere in your house, maybe still carrying the residual weight of whatever just happened, and your cat gets up, walks over to you, and presses their head against your hand, or your leg, or your face, firmly, with that quality of intention that feels different from casual contact. Most people think their cat wants attention. Some people laugh because it came out of nowhere. Some people, still a little irritated, Gently redirect the cat away from them. All of those responses miss what's actually happening at a biological level. This behavior is called bunting, and when it occurs in the direct aftermath of conflict, it is not casual affection. It is one of the most precise and intentional social gestures in a cat's entire behavioral vocabulary. Here's the mechanism. Cats have scent glands concentrated around their face, at the temples, along the cheekbones, beneath the chin. When they press their head against a surface or against a person, they deposit pheromones from those glands. They are chemically marking you as safe, as familiar, as belonging to their social group. This is the same mechanism they use to mark objects in their environment as non-threatening. Except in this moment, they're doing it to you, deliberately, after conflict, with a specific purpose. Here is the detail that changes the entire picture. Stress hormones alter scent. When you are upset or tense, your body chemistry shifts in ways that are completely below the threshold of human perception, but are fully legible to your cat's olfactory system, which is roughly 14 times more sensitive than yours. Your cat can smell the tension on you. They can detect the cortisol-associated chemical shift in your scent profile. And from their perspective, from the perspective of an animal whose entire social world is built on scent information, that change in how you smell registers the way a changed facial expression would register to you. It tells them that something in the connection between you has been chemically disrupted. So they come to you and they correct it with their own scent. They are physically overriding the disruption in your shared scent profile, restoring the olfactory signal that tells both of their nervous systems, this person is still mine. I am still theirs. The disruption did not break what we have. The timing is everything. Cats bunt casually all the time in neutral moments. When it happens specifically in the wake of conflict, directed at you with that focused, purposeful quality, it is not the same behavior. It is the feline equivalent of someone reaching across the space between you and taking your hand. It is your cat saying, without any available words, I'm not going anywhere. We're still us. I'm choosing that right now. Don't redirect them in those moments. Even if you're still processing, even if the frustration hasn't fully cleared, stay still and let them complete the gesture. Because what your cat is doing in that specific moment is exactly what you would want from any person you're in conflict with. They are choosing the relationship over the disruption. They are refusing to let the tension be the final word between you. The third signal is the one that produces the most genuine disbelief when people hear it described, because it sounds almost too considered, too emotionally deliberate to be real. But the behavioral documentation behind it is consistent, cross-cultural, and spans multiple species. You're sitting somewhere after a difficult moment between you and your cat. The room is still carrying whatever happened. And you look down, and there it is, your cat's favorite toy, placed on the cushion next to you or near your foot, or set quietly on your lap while you weren't paying attention. No vocalization, no eye contact, no play solicitation, just the toy, offered. And almost every owner either moves it aside without registering it, or reads it as a play request and ignores it because they're not in the mood. Both responses miss the point entirely. Cats are not default gift givers. They don't bring objects to people out of generalized social courtesy or to seek approval the way some dogs do. When a cat carries an object to a specific person at a specific moment, behavioral researchers have established that there is always a motivated reason. And the pattern that shows up specifically in post-conflict contexts has been documented consistently enough that it has a name: reconciliatory offering. It belongs to a broader category called post-conflict affiliation behavior, documented across primates, corvids, bonded domesticated animals, and domestic cats in studies specifically examining human-cat dyad dynamics after social rupture. When your cat bunts their head against you, stay still and receive it. Don't redirect them. Don't pull back because you're still processing. Let them complete the gesture. And if it feels right, gently press into the contact slightly. A soft, mutual pressure that mirrors what they're offering. You're marking them back. You're telling them chemically and physically, the connection between us is intact. We're still each other's. When you find your cat's toy placed near you, pick it up. Hold it where they can see it in your hand. That's all. You don't need to initiate play. You don't need to manufacture enthusiasm. You just need to acknowledge the offering, to let your cat see that what they brought you was received, that the gesture landed, because the toy was never the point. The act of bringing it was the point. And what your cat needed to know in that moment is simply that you were there to receive it. When your cat starts grooming your hand or your face, stay, breathe, let your body soften and stay present. The grooming will work on you too if you allow it. There is genuine neurological evidence that receiving tactile care from a trusted source reduces cortisol in humans as well. Your cat's focused attention on you is an act of care. Receive it as exactly that, without deflecting. And when your cat reappears near you in that quiet, proximity-maintaining way, sitting close without asking for anything, present without pressing, notice it. Actively. A soft word in a low tone. A slow blink across the room. The deliberate opening of your body language. Shoulders back, posture easy, no coldness in your face. Let your stillness communicate what they need to feel. I see you. I'm glad you're here. The door is open. None of this is complicated. None of it requires a significant investment of time or effort. What it requires is something that is genuinely harder than it sounds for many people. The willingness to slow down in the middle of emotional residue and actually see what your cat is doing. To look at them rather than through them. To receive what they're offering rather than waiting for an apology that looks the way you were taught apologies are supposed to look. Because here is the truth that this whole video has been building toward. Your cat cannot tell you they are sorry. That form is not available to them. They do not have the words. They cannot sit across from you and articulate what happened, acknowledge their role in it, and express regret through the structured verbal framework that humans have been trained to recognize as a real apology. What they have instead is everything we covered today. A slow blink that costs them a stress override, a forehead pressed against your skin, carrying their scent and their chemistry and their claim on you. A favorite toy carried across the room and placed quietly at your feet. A tongue moving carefully across your hand, while their own heart rate drops in the act of tending to you. A body choosing to stay in the room when leaving required nothing. These are not lesser apologies because they don't use language. They may be more honest ones. Because every single behavior on this list requires your cat to act without the buffer of words to soften the exposure. There is nothing between the intention and the gesture. No preamble, no qualifications, no hedging. Just the reach, offered plainly, with everything riding on whether you receive it. When your cat does any of these things, they are being completely earnest, completely exposed. They are trying with everything available to them in the only form their biology allows. And the question they are asking in every signal they send is the same one we ask when we reach towards someone after conflict. Are you still there? Can we come back from this? Are we still okay? I want to leave you with one final piece of research, because I think it is the most important thing in this entire video, and I want it to be the last thing you carry out of here. A study examining post-conflict dynamics in bonded human-cat pairs found that cats living with owners who consistently responded positively to their repair initiation attempts showed measurably lower baseline cortisol levels than cats whose repair attempts were typically missed or unacknowledged. Those cats also sought out their owners more frequently in non-conflict contexts, showed more secure attachment patterns overall, and demonstrated what researchers described as greater resilience in novel or stressful situations. In plain language, cats who knew their apologies worked were less stressed, more bonded, and more emotionally secure across the full range of their daily lives. Not just in the immediate aftermath of conflict, in everything. Your response to your cat's repair attempts is not just about individual moments. It is building something. Signal by signal, slow blink by slow blink, it is continuously building your cat's working model of what you are. Whether you are someone who can be reached, whether repair is possible between you, whether the relationship is safe enough to keep investing in. Every time you receive what your cat offers, you answer those questions correctly. You tell them, "Yes, I see you. I'm here." It worked. And a cat who knows their reach will be met is a cat who keeps reaching, who keeps coming back into the room, who keeps setting the toy at your feet and pressing their forehead into your hand, and staying near you in the silence after hard moments, who keeps choosing you again and again in the only language they have. Give them a reason to keep choosing you, and they will spend their whole life doing exactly that. If this video changed something in how you see your cat, if you thought back to a moment when they were reaching out and you didn't know it, hit the like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it helps this reach the people who need it most. Share it with someone who loves their cat and doesn't know what they've been missing. And subscribe for more content like this, where we take the everyday moments between you and your cat and show you the science and the real emotional weight underneath them. I'll see you in the next one.